Welcome back to the Scoop College Basketball Podcast. We are back with another conference preview, and I think this conference might actually be our favorite conference as the Mountain West. Is it your favorite conference, Kyle?
It is. I got up at 8:30 a.m. and did my Mountain West prep. I got my alarm set and everything, man.
Ready
The
to
Mountain
roll,
West
ready to
has me
roll.
different.
Yeah. Last week we were joking about how the Big Sky was your favorite conference, but the Mountain West is actually our favorite conference. It's nothing beats those late night Mountain West games. But yeah, just a quick rundown of the league last season before we get into the big content of the podcast. It was ranked the sixth strongest league in Ken Palm, so it was above the ACC. There were a few tournament teams in San Diego State, Utah State, Boise State, and Nevada. San Diego State was the only team out of those to win a tournament game, but they made it all the way to the national championship game. So that is pretty impressive there. The all conference members from last year, Matt Bradley on the first team exhausts his eligibility. Tyson Degenhart is back at Boise State. Jalen House is back in New Mexico. Omari Moore started his pro career, and Isaiah Stevens is back at Colorado State. Moving to the second team, Stephen Ashworth transferred to Creighton. EJ Harkless exhausts his eligibility. Hunter Maldonado exhausts his eligibility. Jamal Mashburn Jr. is back at New Mexico, and Morris Udeze exhausts his eligibility. Moving to the third team, Will Baker transferred to LSU. Jared Lucas is back in Nevada. Keenan Blackshear is also back at Nevada. Max Rice is back at Boise State. And Marcus Shaver at Boise State exhausts his eligibility. We had one new coach this offseason, and that is Danny Sprinkle, who takes over the Utah State job after Ryan Odom departed it for VCU. So yeah, a lot of good coaches in this league. I think so. If there were coaching changes in the future, it'd be more of coaches getting poached to the high major level. But yeah, are we ready to start into our all conference teams?
Yeah, honestly, let's do it.
So, on the first team, who is your player of the year?
So player of the year, I'm gonna have Jamal Mashburn Jr. I think this is gonna be a massive year for him. I think he's working on expanding his range to the 3-point line a little bit more. And I think I would say I don't House is going to be good, but there's a lot of competition. And House last year, he's somebody he can get pretty visibly frustrated out there, and he did say towards the end of last year. He's going to have a lot of competition for his minutes if he's not playing great, right? You got Donovan Dent, you got True Washington, guys like that. So, I think Mashburn's, the experienced one. So is House, but Mashburn is, that 3-level scorer. And he's just so reliable down the stretch as well. You always know what you're going to get from Jamal Mashburn.
Yeah, I did pick House as my player of the year. He is so electrifying to watch, can really control an offense. I was debating which I had Mashburn on my first team as well. Obviously, Mashburn brings you that pure scoring ability that House doesn't exactly have, but I think House just brings a lot to the table with his passing ability, defensive, on-ball defense, stuff like that. So I gave him the slight edge there. Did you also have House on your first team then?
I did until I kind of brought up that point to myself. I'm like, if House kind of slips at all, like I'd see, Dent's going to be right there. True Washington's going to be right there. And I'm really high on Colorado State this year. So I have Isaiah Stevens over him as of right now.
I had Isaiah Stevens on my first team as well. He is
Okay.
really good. He's going to put up a lot of points, going to put up a lot of assists, and going to have a better team around him, and hopefully healthy season. Like he won't
Right.
start the season in December. He'll
I know
be fully
that was
healthy.
annoying, but he
Yes.
caught fire towards the end of the season. So,
Mhm. Who is another member of your first team?
yeah, I squeezed Lamont Butler on here. I definitely think he's going to take a big jump, as advertised. As San Diego State needs a number one option, and he's definitely the guy who's most fit for that. He showed some flashes last year towards the end of some shot creating ability. I still have my doubts with him, but obviously I'm pretty high on San Diego State. I don't know how you can't be. And I didn't want to not have anybody from San Diego State on here, so
Yeah,
I put Lamont Butler there.
that is a bold take. I did not have Butler on my all conference teams. I went a little bit of a different direction. I did have some San Diego State guys on the later team, so we will get to that. But I don't hate it because there's someone who's gonna have to step up on San Diego State. It could be Butler, but I think he's just like too much of a role player. Like,
Yeah, I feel that way too. And I've said that to my friend who's a San Diego State fan. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to play out, but I do think he's going to get a lot of sets run for him, and they're going to really try at least to
yeah,
get him to be that guy.
he is really good. I just don't know if he can really
I
be that
agree.
guy. Moving forward though, I have Tyson Degenhart on my first team. He was on the first team last year. He's been really good. He's only a junior now, so has 2 years left. He is a pretty
He's a
easy first
lock.
team pick. Yes.
He's quite good on both ends.
Um, and for my final member of the first team, I have Caleb Boone. All Big 12 guy, really good rim protector, efficient. So I think
I
he's
have
going to be
Nelly Junior
UNLV's best
Joseph.
player.
Yeah. I originally had Lee D, but I moved Lee D down. I think Nelly Junior Joseph's a more talented offensive player. He has some good post moves. He really developed his offensive game a bit at Iona, and I think he's going to even work on that even more here. They're going to get him involved with some lob sets, I think, with Jalen House. I think they're going to get that part of his game. He's an amazing defender, even if he's a little undersized for the center position. And no, I love Nelly more than I actually like Uduze, fit wise, for New Mexico. Even though he might not average the points Udeze did, he's going to give you a lot more defensively, and he definitely has more of a skill set on offense as well. He's not just going to bully and truck guys down low. He's very skilled with both hands and things like that. So
Yeah, I had him on my third team.
Mm.
I like him, but at the same time, I want to put too many New Mexico guys up there. Like only there's so much production to go around, and
All right.
even the guys I didn't have under my all conference teams for New Mexico, I think will still put up some decent chunks of production. So that's why I slid him down to the third team, but I could see him being as high as it. Did we name off all your first team players?
Yep.
Okay, moving to second team, I have a Quell Cott for Wyoming on my second team. He is one of my favorite players in the country. He can really score the ball, can really create his own shot. Like, I don't think there are that many players in college basketball better at creating their own shot off the dribble.
He's very creative.
And he's very
Obviously
efficient
he's
at that too.
got right. I know. Usually you see guys with these creative shot creating packages and they're not efficient at all. They're just chucking up
Mhm.
whatever shot. He's got step backs. He can take guys to the rim. He can score from all three levels. Like his highlight package is very, very elite. And I think he's going to translate, like you said. I have him third team here because the Mountain West has just so many good guards. So yeah, on my second team, I have Jalen House, and then I have Jared Lucas.
Okay. I have
As
Lucas
far
on
as
my second
Lucas
team as well.
goes, I actually think he wasn't that amazing last year, right? Like when I think of Jared Lucas, I think of really efficient from three, really efficient from two. I think he's going to have a better year this year. Even though he averaged a lot of points, obviously, because he had the ball in his hand a ton. But a more efficient season for him could mean really, really dangerous things for the Mountain West. And I have him second team.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I have him second team as well. I also think, I mean, he did take a big step last year, just like production wise. Like he
Yeah,
was more of like
volume guy for sure.
yeah, he really stepped into that role. So
Yeah, no, he definitely did a pretty good job, which
yeah,
is
but he's definitely a guy that can really get buckets from mid range, 3 point range. So yeah, I have him in my second team as well. Another player I have in my second team is Darian Trammell. This is kind of the direction I went with the San Diego State guard. It's going to be scoring a lot. I mean, he's shown the ability to be like a number one scoring option at Seattle, who had some decent teams under him.
yeah,
So I think, I mean, that's the direction I went in their
yeah.
backcourt.
I'm known as someone who's doubted Trammell a bit, but I do have him on my third team. I think he definitely grew on me as the season went on. He had some pretty good games last year. Um, as far as maybe the league creator goes, he probably has the most shot creating skill of anybody on the team. He's just, he's obviously 5'11". That's the one thing that, but it's not been a problem for him throughout his career. So he could definitely get his shot off. As far as my third member, I have Keenan Blackshear.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I definitely think he's in for another great season. Great two-way guy, great passer, um, great three-level scorer. I mean, yeah, it's just not hard. It's hard to not have him high.
Yeah, I did my third team. I really like him as well. Just add him there. Not that big of a difference. Another member of my second team is Joel Scott for Colorado. He was one the D2 Player of the Year awards. There are a few different ones, but I mean he was one of the best players in D2 on a good team. Like he should be able to be a good power forward option playing next to Patrick Cartier for the Rams. So I think like maybe I think translates better up to D1 level with his skill, but I think Scott is still gonna be a really impactful player.
Yeah, and Scott gives you a little more versatility on the defensive end. I have Joel Scott as well. Yeah, I definitely liked what I saw. He's 6'7". He's really strong.
Mhm.
Things like that. I can definitely probably switch on the 1 through 4. He's got good quickness. He's good off the bounce. 3-level scorer, and I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities next to Stevens. Like that second option next to Stevens, like Medved's looking for somebody to step into that role, and he's certainly got all the tools to be that guy. So,
Yes. Um, let's see. Who is another? Are we? Do you have another player on your second team?
yeah, my center, I got Jaden Leedy. Yeah.
Okay. I honestly completely forgot about him when I was doing this. I probably would have had him on my second or third team, but I had not. I took a little bit of a swing here. I had Ritus Petritis on my second team. He is gonna put up some numbers. He was Air Force's best player as a
I like it.
freshman. Really skilled. Can like is a kind of a big man. Like, uh, I mean, he played a center. I mean, Air Force can't really get like big guys because not many big guys can really fly planes. So,
No.
he's like a 6'7" center, but he can pass the ball. He's efficient scoring wise. So, and
We're
without
huge
Highbrighter
Petritus
there,
fans over here. I, I
yes,
I just didn't really go that route with like the teams that, and I did in past weeks with this. I went with the guys that would be putting up numbers, but I kind of stayed away from it. I don't know. Petritus is going to have average a ton of points though. Like Air Force lost a lot of production last year, and I think he's the clear number one guy. And I even noted him on my breakouts because even though he averaged 11 last year, I could see that going up to like 17, 15. Like he's going to take another jump. Um, did I put him on my third team? You know what? I don't think I did. Get so many like good forwards, guards. Yeah, there's somebody else I do have there. So
so is that it on your second team then?
yeah, that's it.
Okay, so my third team we've already listed off Blackshear and Illy Jr. Joseph. I have Max Rice. I mean he was there last year. He's a guy that can really get hot, can really shoot the ball. I mean, just getting older, no more Marcus Shaver in the backcourt. So, yeah, I just decided
Yeah,
to
good
throw
old
him in there.
Maximum Rice. He was unreal at the end of last year. He propelled them to that tournament berth. Like the carrying he did, like Shaver really disappeared in the second half. Like he wasn't himself. And Max Rice had to really take that scoring load from him, and he more than did that. Like he was hitting all the clutch shots. He does a ton of little things as well. He's just such a good player. I love him. Leon, he fits that system so well. So I have him as my two guard here next to Trammell, who I said I had as my point guard. You want me to just mention my third guy or?
Yeah,
All right, I've Sticks and Waters.
I have him as
So
well.
yeah, I think he's in for a great season. Yeah, I loved him at USC. And I think he was a great pickup. Again, great three-level scorer, good on both ends. 6'6". As far as some shot creating goes, he's going to give you some of that. He's more of a 3 and D guy. but he's very good at it. He's very efficient and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. How many more players do you have that we haven't mentioned?
So I have two. I have a Quell,
Okay.
and for my Florida center, he's not gotten any mentions yet. I have Isaiah Cottrell. I think he's in for a great season if he's healthy. I've he was originally committed to West Virginia. He was out all of last year. Yeah, he's very high prospect there, a great rim protector, things like that. Very good athlete as well. He can get off the floor. And yeah, no, I feel like UNLV's kind of lacked that rim protection in years past, and I think they're going to involve him a bit in the offense too. Like I think he can score on the low blocks, especially he's going to get some lobs thrown his way, and yeah, things like that. So
Yeah, I kind of went that same
that's
route, but went with Jalen Hill instead at UNLV. Like
I
just
thought
a
about it. I
good
like
four for
Jalen Hill
UNLV. He was a pretty productive Big 12 player. Should be able to be even better in the Mountain West. Do you have any more members of your team that we have not mentioned?
Oh, that's everyone.
Neither do I. So we will move into our top 10 transfers. I mean, there's some good transfers in this league. So I obviously had Caleb Boone at one since I had him on my first team. Who did you have at one?
So I actually had Reese Dixon Waters at one. Even though he's on my third team, I think obviously when you go through your all conference teams, fit and production is part of it. But I think like overall as a player, he's, the best player all around of any transfer to me
Yes. I had Cott at two.
too. Yeah, obviously he hasn't completely evolved into what, we think he's gonna be. But I think he will. He's certainly high on my breakout list. But he did a lot of good things at Dayton too. Like he's a great 3-and-D guy, 6'9", really good defender. He'll put the ball on the floor here and there. Yeah, his upside is very real.
Yeah.
And I had him at two.
I had him at seven. I like him, but at the same
He's
time, like
yeah,
there's
I mean it
so
just
many like
depends.
he
Like
has such high ceiling. Like he could be like the second best transfer.
right, no, exactly. I kind of I think that jump. So
Yeah.
at three I have Nelly Jr. Joseph. Um,
Okay. I had him at four. So
mm,
and I had Scott
and
at
then
three.
at four I have Cam Martin. I think Cam Martin's gonna be pretty nice for Boise. Like they need a low block guy. He's interesting, right? He's a sixth year, or actually no, I think he might be even a seventh year. Like
He's
it's
old. He's old.
um but he was really solid 2 years ago from what I've seen. He's done really good on the Canadian tour. He's shooting like 65% from the field. And he's definitely going to get a ton of minutes. Like he's going to be their starting big. They don't really have anybody else. I mean they do, but I think he's definitely your number one guy as far as that goes.
Let's see. Who do you have next? We had Dixon Waters at five. Then I
So
had
I'll be honest with you, and I know I've discussed this with you before. I'm more of a Keelan Boone fan than a Caleb fan, believe it or not. And I think that's just what we value in players, right? Keelan's more of the shot creator, right? He's from all three levels at Pacific last year. He did a lot of things that really won me over. I was like, wow, this guy's really gotten a lot better because like he was not doing these things at Oklahoma State. So and that's the thing with guys that move down, like they can evolve as players. And Keelan last year had to do a lot of the scoring and he had to improve his 3-level game. And like he was scoring at all three levels last year for Pacific, from the three, from the mid range, especially, and then around the rim. He's just a really skilled guy and he gives you that defense as well. So, I put Keelan at five. I almost put him on my all conference team too, but it's just a loaded conference. So,
yeah, let's see. At six, I had Jalen Hill. I already kind of talked about him. Seven, I had Amzo. Who do you have at six?
um, yeah, at six, I did forget Jalen Hill. I'll put Jalen Hill at six and knock everybody down here. Yeah, I'll put Jalen. I like Jalen Hill a lot. He wasn't amazing at Oklahoma last year. It was better like 2 years ago. Um, Jalen Hill is someone I was really high on last year that I wanted to break out, and he didn't really pan all the way out. I just think there's a lot of shots this year that guys on UNLV are gonna want. He's gonna be, I don't know where he falls in that line in terms of, how many shots he gets, but he should definitely get like a fair amount. And he's a great defender. So oh,
Yeah. Let's see. Who do you have at number 7 then?
number 7, I have Josh Aduje. I love Josh Aduje, as you know. To put up 12 to 14 a game on 40% shooting under Cliff Ellis. It's not easy to do with his system, well, lack of system. They don't run much of an offense, but what makes Aduje good is he's 6'6". He can guard multiple positions. I just really think under Sprinkle, he's going to take a huge step this year. I think he's really their number one guy. Him and Javante Jackson. Javante's probably their second guy, but as far as scoring goes, like Utah State does need that scorer, and I think they're going to look to Aduje a lot. And I think his volume's going to be higher. And, I think he can honestly build off that efficiency too. And he gives you great defense as well.
Yes. At number 8, I had Mason Walters for Wyoming. He was NAI Player of the Year. Really skilled inside big player. So I slotted him at number 8. Maybe he doesn't translate all the way athleticism wise, but he's also a big man, so it's a little bit less important. I think
I
he's going to be
wish I
pretty
could have
good.
included him. It's just so many guys. I had Joel Scott and then a Qualcott there. I think Joel Scott is probably a little bit better defensively and a bit more versatile on that end. That's why I gave him the edge over Cott. Obviously, Cott is the better creator, and things like that. But they're neck and neck, obviously. So I had them at
Yes.
7 and 8.
Okay, at 9, I had Jamarl Baker Jr. He's really old and has proven to be a productive player for the last few years. Going to slot in well in New Mexico. Is probably not going to be a high usage player, but he's still going to be a really solid starting option in the Mountain West. Like he's been a solid starting option in the Mountain West. So I slotted him in at
Really important
9.
for their perimeter defense to get better. Like that's why they really went out and got him, and he's going to be really steady there. And I had Jay Powell at number 9. I like Jay Powell a lot. What he showed us last year in the Big South tourney, kind of as like a 6'9" guy who can kind of stretch the floor a little bit, who's good off the dribble, who's really good on defense, versatility wise. He can protect the rim. He can even switch on the perimeter guys. I think Brian Dutcher is going to have a field day with him. I think he's the most San Diego State transfer ever. So
At number 10, I have Darius Brown the second. I think it's a really solid point guard option, really good defender, can pass the ball. I mean, not really a scorer, but he's efficient when he does. Yeah, he was the Utah State guy I chose to include here. Obviously, following Sprinkle, so it's not going to be like a whole new system to him. So,
and then I had Caleb Boone at 10. So
okay. Let's see. We are moving to breakout players, and we probably both have Donovan Dent on this list.
yeah, I feel like he already broke out though. I included him
It's
like
okay as a
in an
freshman. I mean,
asterisk area, but there's
okay,
other guys I wanted to really include here that would really actually break out.
okay. Well,
Amzil.
let's hear one then.
I like Nick Davidson a lot.
I
Like
had him on my list too.
like I loved him around the rim. He's great on the perimeter as well. Like anything they asked Nick Davidson to do last year as a freshman, he did it. Like he was great on defense too. Like he was such an important role guy for them last year,
Hmm.
and he's gonna really take a step up in production.
Yeah, he's gonna be at starting big this year. He's really efficient from inside last year. Can shoot the
Mhm.
ball a little bit. So yeah, I really like him as well. Who is another one of your players?
I have Roddy Anderson the third. I think Boise, as far as guards go, they don't really have a lot. As far
Yeah,
as next to
point guard
Max
especially. Like
Bryce.
I mean, Rice is a two guard.
He's
So
at 2, exactly. Like they're gonna need guards to step up, and Roddy has experience from UC San Diego. He was really good in conference play his freshman year, which I believe was last year. And I said in my Big West video that he wasn't a big loss for San Diego, so I decided
he
to
he
put him on
was
here.
he was a little inefficient, but I mean,
Yeah, I decided,
He-
and he's in the perfect role to really take a step up in production. Like, Boise's gonna need guys to guard, and I have somebody on my freshman team later that we're gonna get to that is gonna also help with that.
Okay, we will get to that, but I have another player in Caden Powell on my breakout player. He's likely going to be the starting center for Wyoming. Didn't really see a ton last year, but is solidly athletic, big man inside, and he's going to be that starting position. So I just slid him in there.
I saw him. I think there's another guy similar on Colorado State and Kyle Evans.
I
They're
had
gonna
him
be
as
looking
well.
for center production and rim protection as we were talking about yesterday. And he was kind of like, Christoph Tilly from our last episode. He really took off in the second half. He
Thought he
started to
was hurt the second half.
it said on Colorado State's website he finished strong or whatever.
He was
I,
like playing decent, and he got hurt for like the last part of the
I guess
season.
that maybe that's what they meant by that,
But
but
I had Evans on my team because he's like their only backup big man. I mean,
right, they're
you do have
very
Scott and Cartier that can both play the five, but like they don't really have backup big men off the bench. Like
Cartier's really a
beside,
four too. Like, yeah. No, Evans is gonna have to be that guy rim protecting wise.
yeah,
And he's gonna get a lot of run at center. And he was pretty active defensively from what I hear, so that's good.
yes. Who is another player on your breakout
So I have
list?
Miles Bird. I think for San Diego State, there's some minutes maybe at the 3 or the 4 spot. And I feel like he's really raw. He's a lefty, 6'6", 6'7". He was a 4-star. Um, and I like his athleticism. He's got a really good frame. Shooting the ball that's coming, and I watched like an interview down. He's so honest about his game, and he's like, "Yeah, my shot isn't all the way there yet." His IQ is just really high, right? And things like that is what I look for up and to embrace his role, and I really feel like I have one this year. Like, as far as the 3 and the 4 go, they're not all the way there, in terms of forwards. And if somebody isn't performing, he's going to get an opportunity. So,
Yes. How many more guys do you have on your
so
breakouts?
I have Petritus,
Okay.
obviously, and I actually like Jalen Lake. I think Jalen Lake is another guy for Colorado. They're gonna need some other guard help off the bench, losing Rivera. And Rivera was pretty solid for them.
He's probably going to start though, right?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like he's gonna start him or Josiah Strong. And I
I think he's
prefer
better.
Lake over Strong for sure. So Lake averaged like 7 a game last year. I think it was a freshman. Like, he was really effective last year. And I feel like he can take even a bit of a step up from there and play off of Stevens and Scott really well. And be a steady shooter.
Yes, my final player, breakout player, I have Tibet Gorner. I just chose this because San Jose State kind of needs some guys to break out. He's a
They
pretty
do.
skilled forward. So I just went with him and hope he
Yeah.
breaks out.
The thing about San Jose State this year, I just feel like it's just a whole collection of good role players, right? And there's just not like that shot creator. I love Cardenas too. But as far as someone who can go out and like create their own shot, like, they just don't have anyone like that. Gorner is probably one of the guys that is gonna have to step up in that department. But obviously I love Tim Miles, but the roster where you really don't have a shot creator, it's gonna be tough. They do get this one guy back from last year who played like 5 games, and I think got a red shirt. I forget how good he is, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we will see, but we are moving forward to our all freshman team now. And I will say there was a lot of freshmen in this conference I liked, but I didn't see like where the minutes were right away for them, so I didn't really have them on here. Um, but one guy I did have was Dan Thomas. I think he's a pretty easy pick to be on here. Like he's gonna be the
Freshman of
starting
the
point
year for
guard.
me as well.
I do have some questions because reclass point guards are usually a little bit questionable. They're usually not good, but for one, he's in the Mountain West, which is not like a even
High,
though the sixth best conference last year, it's not the same like high major athleticism, high major physicality level. So I think that will cater to him a little bit more. And like he's also really skilled as like a borderline 5-star before he reclassed. So it's hard to not have him here. He's like the freshman that's going to have the biggest role in the conference, I think.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why I kind of picked him. But we'll see how
yes.
how he translates, of course. And then on my two
Most,
guard, I have BJ Davis.
I had him on there as well.
Yeah, I hope he gets minutes. I think he will.
I mean,
Again with
I think he's like the first backup guard off the bench.
yeah, honestly, Micah's more of a three. And they'll probably start Micah,
Yeah,
honestly.
I have Micah starting at like the 4.
Yeah. No, as far as like guards go, and he's a real shot creator. Like this is a team that needs shot creation. This dude can create his own shot. Like if he's really clicking, then San Diego State takes that jump that I think people already have them taking. But I feel like people have San Diego State high for the wrong reasons. Like I don't
Yes.
see them being that great if they don't get like a really good season from BJ Davis. Like they need that shot creator, man. And he's really like as far as those shot creating skills go, like he might be the most skilled creator on the team, like him and Trammell. Definitely. So he's gonna need to contribute for them on the low. So
Yeah. Another player I have on my freshman team is Jazz Gardner. He's going to be Nevada's primary backup big man. I think he's really athletic, can run the floor. Still a little bit of a work in progress, but I think he's still going to be pretty solid Mountain West player right away. So I had him as my third member of the team.
yeah, Nevada just has a lot of guys in that front court. Don't they have is his name Tynes, right?
Yeah, KJ Himes.
Yeah, he was pretty solid last year early on. I know
Yeah,
it's
he
a
got hurt
3 game
like,
sample size, right?
yeah.
Not you can't put a ton into it. So as far as those minutes go, I just want to know how much if Gardner's gonna start, if he's gonna get a lot of minutes. Obviously, he's very good. Um, and then at my third spot, I have Chris Lockett Jr. I watched him a bit, 4-star from Louisiana, or I think maybe he's a high three. But again, like I said, he's a 6'4" guard he's Louisiana's all player of the year. He's very, very good at finishing. He is an awesome downhill player. He has a great frame at 6'4", really strong. Honestly, one of the best freshman like finishers I've seen in a while. Like the way he absorbs just also shoot the ball as well. Boise State really got a gem here because he has some pretty good offers as well. So I think he's in for a big role this year, and it was just hard finding freshmen that are really going to get minutes. And I think he fit that mold pretty well. So I put him on here.
Yes, I really like Boise State's freshman class, but I don't really see how all these guys get like a ton of minutes. Like I think their
Yeah,
starting five is really solid, plus like Omar Stanley, so I don't like
that's
see
true.
a big role. I do really like Andrew Meadow. I didn't have him on my freshman team, but I am a big Andrew Meadow guy.
Okay, yeah, no, he's
I would have him on here if he would be in line, like if Degenhart and like Agbo weren't there. I
right.
will just
Forwards, they have a lot of guys battling for minutes down low.
yeah.
It's going to be
Um
hard.
but I did have True Washington as another member of my freshman team.
I went
I
4
ranked
guards as
recruit.
well. Yeah, so I put True Washington on here, and I put Jaden Toppin as my last guy.
Yes, my last guy was San Jose State guard forward. I think he's kind of a mix. Diogo Sejas, I think that is his name. He played, I don't even remember what country he was for. I already forgot, but he played in U18. I think he averaged like an efficient like 18 points per game. What country is he from? That's gonna bother me. I literally just looked it up.
Is that the Vienna
Um
dude, or did I think of somebody else? I don't
No,
know.
that's Rashawn Mbemba, I think you're thinking of from
Yeah.
Austria.
Mm,
Yeah, Sejas from Portugal is like a 6'7" forward.
okay.
Really scored efficiently in the U18 championship. So I think he's a guy that will get minutes right away because of how San Jose State's roster is, and I think he will be able to contribute right away. Um,
Mm, for
so
sure.
yeah, any more thoughts before we head into our individual team breakdowns?
Ah, I think we did a good job on that, honestly.
All right, so we are moving backwards to forwards as we typically do. So we will start with Wyoming, who was the last place team. I'm not sure where do you have them this year?
I had them at 7.
I have them at 7 as well. I obviously a lot of that is based on a Quell Cott huge breakthrough season and that he's able to hold up that production, which I think he definitely can. Obviously you have Mason Walters there, so the two X factors are kind of guys just you want to hold up their production from the smaller divisions levels. Yeah, I mean, I also think Linder is a great coach, and last year was just too many injuries, not really indicative of
Armageddon.
how good that team was. Yeah, it was like no one was healthy the whole season.
It's
Everyone
something
was
I've never
hurt here and
seen,
there. Yeah,
honestly.
it was. I mean, obviously I had EK, which was like the big one, like oh he's out for the year, but like everyone else got hurt at some point. Like it's crazy. Like no Reynolds missed a lot of time. Like Maldonado missed games here and there. Like just everyone was hurt.
Buster. Yeah, I kind of look for some of the returners to like Brandon Wenzel. I think is in for a big year as well. Um, and then I look at Nigel Cook, who I kind of like.
Mhm.
Um, they have some really intriguing freshmen. Obviously, if Sam Griffin from Tulsa, we'll see how effective he is. Wasn't really
Yeah.
too efficient at that level, but I mean, he's going to be, one of their lead backcourt guys for sure next to Aquel. So we'll see how
Yes.
that works. Then if you think Kenny Foster's gonna play,
Yeah, I imagine there's 6 man.
yeah, I'm about to say he should get some minutes. How about
He
these
was
other
also
Wyoming freshmen like Kale Combs? Any decent? I don't.
um I think Cook is a guy that's gonna really get the
Yeah,
minutes right
Cook
away.
is from DME, which is where Keegan Murray's from.
Yeah, I mean
So
he had an offer from Villanova like late in the
yeah,
process, so
I've
he
seen that.
is
He's very talented, it seems.
good
So
size, good
mhm,
skills. Yeah, I mean obviously Caden Powell breakout you
yeah.
kind of want to happen too. Yeah, a
How
lot
about
of
this
this is
guy from Lithuania, Jonas Sartaltis?
I couldn't find like anything on him when I was looking him up, so I'm just assuming he's not that
Yeah,
good.
yeah, he's 6'10",
They do
but
have Lithuanian Oleg
that's
Kojenets
right.
from Nebraska,
He's
so
solid.
I don't know if he's gonna be that good either,
Well, we'll
but
see.
he
Yeah.
is on the team. But yeah, Lenders Wyoming's gonna be good again, at least move in the right direction, a big step. Koch's gonna be one of the best scorers, and he could lead the Mountain West in scoring. I think he will lead the Mountain West in scoring.
Like you think
Like
about it,
who?
right?
Like
Everyone else, as far as scoring goes, has like guys that they got to share shots with, except for really Cott. We'll see how many shots Sam Griffin takes, but like Cott is going to take so many shots compared to like the other star players in this
hmm
conference.
yeah.
So I definitely see what you're saying. He could lead the league in scoring.
All right. Moving forward, anything more in Wyoming? So
Oh,
moving forward to our 10th place team next year, we have Air Force. Really not that much to talk about here. Like Petrides is good.
that's it.
That's about it. Like they have like some are turning like role
I will
players, but like
say, I love their coach. I don't care
yes,
where they
yes, yes,
finish.
yes.
They're just really
He
handcuffed as a program.
they're
As you know, we've
yeah,
talked about this,
they're
right?
gonna be better than you think they are, but I have them last
They
still.
compete. They beat. Didn't they beat New Mexico at New Mexico? They almost did. They
And
should have.
I don't know. New Mexico was bad into last year, so they probably
Yeah,
did.
no,
But
they beat some solid teams last year. They were really competitive in conference. Air Force is not a free win last year. I don't think they'll be as good this year.
do you have them
Um,
last? And
right. Yeah, I have them last,
yeah,
obviously.
they're
Um,
they're going to be better than we think they are. They're probably not
of
going to be better
course.
standings wise, but like they're going to be
Yeah,
competitive
they'll be
because
competitive.
like they have a really good coach. Another thing about Air Force, you don't know like who they're bringing in. They sign like a ton of freshmen each year, and they don't actually like play. It's because I mean you can
Right.
go to college for free there. So
I love Joe Scott though. He's one of the most unique
yes, yes.
coaches in the country. His offense is beautiful to
I mean,
watch
he
with the
like won at
backdoor
Denver.
cuts. Was he at Denver?
Yeah, he was there when they were like good.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he had like
Oh,
I think like Royce O'Neal was there.
oh, oh, wow. I didn't even know that. But yeah, no, he's such a unique coach, like as far as mid-major coaches go, with how good he is defensively. And then offensively, he is just such a beautiful system. I just wish he
Hmm.
had the players available to him to really elevate that system. But yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's
The Air
hard.
Force.
By the way, how does that work? Like hybrid or transfer out? Like how do you even transfer out of a service academy?
I mean, like that's the thing, right? If you transfer out, it's usually mean that you're dropping out, like and
Or do you have to like pay for like
that too. Like, is there
college?
a fee to leave? I don't know.
I don't
Things
know.
like that. Yeah,
Who
it
knows?
kind of handcuffs
But
them as a program. It hurts,
yeah, I mean they can't take transfers really.
and they can't take centers, like we were saying.
They
They
can't
got to
take
fit in a
centers.
plane.
Yeah, Rice Petrice is as big as you're gonna get.
Yeah,
But
honestly,
moving forward to Fresno State, who finished ninth last year. I had them 10th this year.
same. Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate them. There's not really
I saw
that much to
CHC
love.
put them 7. I'm like, and then I look at their roster, and I'm like,
Like
ugh.
it's not that bad. They're just like everyone in the Mountain West is a little bit better than them. Like
Yeah,
Isaiah Hill is solid. Like Ducell was a good transfer pickup. He can shoot the ball. Like
for
Isaiah
sure.
Pope is good. Like Eduardo Andre is a solid
I
big
love
man. But like
Eduardo Andre. Yeah, I
same
think he's
time,
very
like
solid.
what brings the team to the next level? They lost like Jamal Baker, Isaiah Moore, Anthony Holland, who were like all decent players. Like
And I
I
don't
just
like their
don't
coach.
see.
I think
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
as far as the other Mountain West coaches, I think he's the weakest coach in the conference by a good long shot, honestly.
I can get behind that.
Um, as far as like if there's a coach to be fired next, it's definitely him. But we'll see how
Yeah.
they do this year. Like they are always a good defensive team, can never knock their defense. They
Hmm.
that's what they focus on now. Offensively, they're an adventure to watch.
Yeah.
They're not good on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Like I don't hate the team. Like just
yeah, let me pull up their roster. I had the
they
tab
have like
open.
Isaiah Hill. Like he was a good
Yeah, I
starting
know.
point guard last year. Like
And
Isaiah
they got
Pope is a good
Ducell.
transfer. Ducell.
Yeah.
Like forward like Leo Call, Mario, Eduardo Andre. They got
Donovan
Enoch
Gap is still there.
Boyache from Arizona State, 5-star once upon a time. Like they have some JUCO guys who weren't terrible. It's just kind of
I'm just not a big
bland.
Justin Hudson guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Eighth last year was Colorado
Uh,
State. I have them at 6 this year. Where do you have them?
I had them at 5. No,
Okay.
I think I'm on
Um,
the roster.
yeah, they were close to 5 for me. I was did through my video countdown. I think I had them like around the 60s, somewhere in the 60s. So they're still pretty high. I don't think they're terribly far away from like an at-large team. Isaiah Stevens is great. Um, Joel Scott is great. Patrick Cartier is really efficient. Yeah,
Nick Clifford is a really underrated guy. I feel like as
yes.
far as team needs go, they needed defense everywhere. And they got perimeter
Hmm.
defense this year. They got Neek. They can get Scott to switch on the perimeter guys, and I think be all right. And they got, and you can have Scott down low and with Kyle Evans at the rim. I think that's yeah, by with how good their offense is going to be. And you
Yeah,
have Nico Medved as well. Who's an
yeah,
elite coach.
yeah. Nick is a guy that was like really inefficient offensively last year at Colorado, but he's really athletic, really can play defense. I mean, he has some offensive skills. He just was not good at it last year. So, they also have Javante Johnson.
Right.
Like, I really like their freshman
Maybe
class too.
maybe if
Like,
he builds
yeah, I really like their freshman class. I just don't see like where the mins are right away. Like Kai Evans is a really good like pure point guard
heard
guy
about him.
option.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
like Rashawn and Bemba like average double figures in Austrian pro basketball, which isn't the highest competition, but it's still like pro guys. Like he was average double figures like 11-7 in pro basketball.
And yeah,
Um
they were Sean Memba, right?
yeah, that's who I was talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really solid team overall. Really definitely gonna bounce back. Nico Medved is another coach is too good.
Top
Like
tier.
he is an amazing coach. Um Moving forward to 7th last year was UNLV. I have them at 4th this year.
I have them at 3.
Okay. I mean, we've talked about how there's so many good coaches in the league. Kevin Kruger has not proved that yet. I'm not
Yeah,
saying he can't be a
honestly,
good
like
coach, but like it hasn't been there yet. Like,
I- there's just been something missing. You just really can't put your finger on it, but I think I have, and think it's been the center position. They need a rim protector. They lacked that last year. They had that. What was that one? He transferred somewhere that kind of was decent for them last year. You remember?
Oh,
I'm on their website,
he
so
didn't even. I don't think even. I think he went pro. I know David Mocha.
yes, he did a bit of that last year. They also need to get better on the perimeter defensively too. Like they should be a good defensive team. Especially this year. You have Jalen Hill, you have Caleb Boone, you have Keelan Boone. Luis can't really defend.
I
Um,
thought he was a defensive player. Like
uh,
I thought that was his appeal.
he's a shot creator to me.
Huh.
Yeah,
Maybe I
maybe
shouldn't
he can
watch
defend a
enough.
little bit. But no, I think they're definitely improved defensively this year, and they that's where they need to be better because they were giving up a lot of points really every game last year. And then they have an amazing freshman class. Brooklyn Hicks, you got Dean
Obviously, the Dan.
Thomas,
Yeah.
Jacob Bannerby. I think is decent too, from what I know. Um, and then you bring in, of course, Shane Noel. I don't know how decent he is from Arizona.
He was there last year, but he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very limited. Justin Webster also comes back. It was a big get for them to bring back. He's a solid
Yeah.
shooter. Um, and they Jalen Hill, Isaiah Cottrell is going to be huge. I think he gives them a whole other dimension down low. That's another reason I'm very high on them.
Hmm.
And I just love Keelan Boone. I think Keelan Boone is going to really translate as far as scoring goes. And then obviously Caleb down low, like they're going to be really good inside. They're going to get rebounds. They're not going to get
Hmm.
outworked inside this year like they had the tendency last year of, just being because the Mountains West is just so good defensively and so physical. You have to be really good on the glass. And I think they went out and addressed that need this year.
Yes, Boone is definitely a really strong player down low in the paint, rim protecting, rebounding, finishing down there, that sort of stuff. Yeah, this is a very talented team. It just needs to like come together because they were really good to the start of last year and they tailed off. Like they
Yeah.
just need to not do that. Um,
Nah,
yes. Number six last year was New Mexico, another team that really started off strong but really tailed off as well. Um, I have them at first this year.
I do too. Well,
Yeah,
I think we knew that.
yeah, they're gonna be really good. They have like House and Mashburn, like that is one of the best backcourts in the country. Like it's not too much of a stretch to say that,
Literally.
honestly. Like Jamal Baker, really solid transfer. We always talked about Amzil, Nelly Jr. Joseph. You have Donovan Dent, who Donovan Dent would be amazing if he wasn't like behind House and Mashburn. Like
Right. He would
he
be
was
like
like a
an
high
all
school All
conference
American.
player.
He was a high school All American. Like All American teams were like him and like 14 other 5 stars like 2 years ago. So he is good. Isaac Mushila can really rebound, can really play physical inside. You have the two 4-star freshmen. Like I just don't really see the weakness of this team, and unless they want to fall apart again, like they just
Yeah.
have
And the
to.
reasons they fell apart were addressed in the offseason. I feel like when you talk about the reasons they fell apart, you look at perimeter defense. They lost that touch they had against St. Mary's and things like that, where they've actually really defended. And they stopped doing that. They were giving up like they almost gave up like 80 to Air Force, and then they gave up a lot to Fresno, and then it and I was not very good on that end. He got bullied a lot by bigger centers, and as far as rim protection goes, that really wasn't his skill set. So they really went out and addressed that. They got someone in Nelly Jr. Joseph who is a rim protector first. Even if he's a little undersized, like Udeze, he's much more athletic. He's a rim protector first, and he's got those offensive skills and a very big upside on that end as well. So they got a lot to work with him. They got JT Toppin, who's big and physical as a freshman. He's gonna get some minutes as well in the front court. And then you have Mustafa Amzil, who's again very strong guy. He's going to be more on the perimeter, but he's
Can
so
really shot
versatile.
create for his size.
Right. He's very versatile defensively as well. Like he can
Yes.
guard some guards as well at 6'9". Very strong and he's quick on that end. And then you look at guys like, do you think Braden Applehans will get any minutes this year? He's
Not
an intriguing guy.
necessarily. I mean, he
He's a
could.
really good shooter, apparently. And
He's also
they
like the
kind of
third
need
guard,
that.
guard off the bench, so
Yeah, that's true.
then
They
your
just are
starters are
so
gonna play a
deep at
lot.
that position, right?
He could
Um,
though. Like I'm
yeah,
not
no,
discounting the
that's kind of
potential.
how they played with Javante Johnson last year, but they're deeper this year, so it's gonna
Yeah.
be harder for him to get minutes. But he's not entirely terrible, and he's a very
Mm.
efficient 3-point shooter,
Yeah, he's
which
young, so
maybe he gets rotational minutes, but I think that's about
maybe
everyone. There's Forsling as well, but I don't think he's gonna play very much.
he could play. He could play some backup center minutes.
For sure. There's just so much to like about this team, you know.
Hmm.
Shot creating, defense, I think will actually be a strength for them this year. Obviously maybe they're not as good as like what's it called? Nevada defensively or Boise
Nevada has a
defensively.
good. They have some good defensive
Those
teams.
teams are loaded defensively, and we will get to that.
We will.
But they're not bad defensively at all this year. Like I honestly would call them a good defensive team. And on offense, they're just beyond elite. Like as far as
Yes.
the upside and ceiling is for this team on offense, like you might not see an offensive team like this in mid-major basketball. Like they're going to be averaging 80, mid 80s.
They're gonna be fun to watch. Um, Moving on to fifth last year, which was San Jose State. I have them ninth this year.
Yeah, same. I got them.
Um, I love Tim Miles. I
Oh,
just they lost Omari Moore. At
Tim
some
Miles
point,
was our mid
like
was my mid-major coach of the year
yeah,
last
and
year.
I think that's very justified. Like
Um,
San Jose State has been a terrible program, like in the 300s, and they were a top 100 team last year. I mean, they still return like a solid amount. They return over half their minutes, but like they lost their players that really
Yeah,
got them
Omari
there.
Moore was, and I've
He,
been
I mean, he was a
preaching
Mountain
it.
West Player of the Year.
And it was deserved, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could hate
Mm-hmm.
on that pick, but like the dude did everything for them, man. Like on
Yeah,
both ends, he was just so elite and clutch last year. He won them so many tough games. Like
yeah,
he, I'm so hurt he went pro, but he's definitely going to get an opportunity there as well. So um, but yeah, no, as far as they go, like you lose your primary shot creator like that, it's just and they don't there are other guys played off of Amari, right? And the attention that Amari
yeah,
got, like you got Gorner who's hitting threes because Amari was getting a lot of attention. Cardenas, honestly, Cardenas might probably be their best creator. Like he's really good off screen. Um, he doesn't need much space to get his shot off. He's a
yeah,
very good shooter. And I actually like Robert Viola a lot. I think he's still there as well. He's
yeah,
really
yeah,
good at
yeah. I
center,
like him
great
as
rim
well.
protector.
Really
So
efficient.
those
Yeah,
three guys are what I like. And then they're
yeah.
going to need other guys to step up. Matter of fact, what is that red shirt I was talking about? He got hurt like MJ, is his
MJ
name?
Amy,
MJ
MJ
Amy,
Amy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be a contributor as well. He got good
definitely
minutes in
could.
the games he played last year.
Yes,
And they're gonna need minutes at guard, so I feel like he's gonna get some as well. So
yes. Overall, though, it's gonna be a little.
yeah, maybe they can finish higher, but I just don't see it. Like on paper,
Um,
they're definitely the third worst team in this conference.
yes, I agree. Number four last year was Nevada. I had them at five this year.
I have them a
Um,
6. No.
yeah, I mean, I think really they'll be around the same. Like they'll be about as good as they were last year. Really. You obviously returned to backcourt, which both players were all conference. Nick Davidson, I think he can kind of replace what Will Baker gave you. At least close enough. Like we have really good defense. Tylen Pope is a solid transfer.
Sure.
Hunter McIntosh gonna have a healthy season. Um, yeah,
I
there's
think a big thing for Nevada is what they're going to get out of Hunter McIntosh is going to be the
yeah.
wild card
I
because
mean he
I liked him at Elon.
he was multiple all CAA player.
Right. You can say what you want about the Colonial, but it was a decent conference back when he was there.
Yeah.
It was much better than it is now. Um, he was very good at getting his shot off against bigger defenders. He could score at all three levels. He's a good distributor. They like using him more of as a point guard in the couple of games that he was there last year, and they actually started him. So I think they might run Lucas at the two, Blackshear at the three. So we'll see.
I think McIntosh will play off the bench.
They could do that too. I was just going off the few games he did play last year and how they used him, but that they could switch that for sure. Um, if he's giving them like legit scoring off the bench, like that elevates them as a team. Like I just worry about Alfred, like what we're gonna get
Yeah.
with him. That's why I put Colorado State over them because I trust Medved a
Yeah.
lot more
Clear
honestly with
coaching advantage
Alfred.
for Colorado State.
Um, so and I think it's honestly with Colorado State and Nevada, I was just splitting hairs. Like they're so close.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think the top five in the Mountain West this year, you're really splitting hairs. Like it's just so
Hmm.
close. So it comes down to coaching. It comes down to coaching, and that's kind of what I worry about with Nevada, and that's really it. Like coaching is like my number one concern. Um,
Yeah.
how about other
Yeah.
concerns?
I don't know, but I know
Bench
their defense
scoring,
is not a concern.
defense is going to be beyond elite.
It's going to be good. I mean, Blackshear's a really good defender. Trey Coleman's a really good defender. Yeah, and Tylen Pope was a really good rim protector. Really good defender overall as well. Davidson was a decent rim protector. Jazz Gardner, it's kind of his game right now, like being a athletic big.
The thing
Um,
is, with Nevada is like, and they have all this defensive talent. They're just not always locked in on that end. Like with
yeah,
Alfred's teams, they're they get a little lazy. They're not as detail oriented as you would want. Um, they need to be playing defense every game because their offense will be here and there. Offensively they'll be very on and off. They'll go as Jared Lucas and Blackshear go. Like they don't
yeah.
really have much else offensively there. Davidson will hit some shots, but they'll be looking for and if McIntosh can help out with that, like that would definitely take them to another level for sure.
Yes, they did add some guy from JUCO, like barely played St. Francis, but was like an elite rim protector last year at JUCO. So I wonder if he will play at all. They also have Tyler Powell, who didn't really play that much last year. A few decent freshmen, but yeah, uh, I think Lucas is going to be good enough to carry most of the offensive load. Him and Blackshear. Obviously David's going to step up there. Um, but yeah, third in the conference last year was Boise State, and I have them at third again.
I wanted to put them third. I love Leon Rice, but I have them at four. Um, I just worry about, and I'm just going through the roster. It's good that Chris Nichols Jr. is there because he's going to help out with this issue. Is just having that lead shot creator. Like even you could say what you want about Marcus Shaver, and he was not good last year, but he was always that guy who could create his own shot for them. He was always that guy who could be creative, and he was very clutch. He was
I mean,
always
I
good
think
down the
Anderson
stretch.
can do that. He just wasn't super efficient last year.
Yeah, obviously, we'll have to see how he is in the Mountain West at doing that. The Big West is a good conference, but the Mountain West is definitely a step up.
Yeah.
I just Shaver was so clutch for so long for them. At the end of games, you always knew he was going to show up, no matter how he was in the first 30 minutes of the game. Um, so there's that. I love Max Rice. I do.
Yeah.
Degenhart's awesome. I think Cam Martin's going to be very underrated for them and very steady if he can stay healthy. That's been his thing.
Yeah.
He's never
Egbo's
healthy.
good.
I love Ogbo. I think Ogbo is so underrated. I think
Really
his
physical player for the Mountain West.
isn't his brother on this team? I swear I seen
No,
another
it's Emmanuel Ugbo. I think it's a different
Ugbo.
guy, but
He
he's
looks
supposed to be
good
really good too.
too.
He's supposed to
Yeah,
be good too.
he played overseas for the Netherlands, I think it was.
Yeah, he came from somewhere overseas, so he's going to be good. Chris Hockett's going to be good. Andrew Meadows going to be good. They have a good freshman class.
They do.
Omar Stanley
Yeah.
was a good, sneaky good pickup.
St. John's legend.
I kind of liked him. Like I didn't.
No, they're again, this is the most Leon race roster ever. I mean, they're going to be blue collar. Like no one is
Mm-hmm.
going to out tough them, man.
Mm.
Nevada kind of matches that, but like Leon Rice actually is that culture
Yes.
that Alfred doesn't really bring. They are the defensive team of the Mountain West. Like them and San Diego State, they've always been that way, and I don't see it being any different this year.
Yes, I think Boise State will be heading back to the tournament.
Yeah, I think they can squeeze in. Like, man, I don't want to give the Mountain West like 4 or 5 bids again, but I might
I think
have
they can
to.
get
The
four.
top
I think they can
five is
get 4 and
so
5.
good, man. The
Yeah,
top
it's
five is so nice. Even the top six now, if you want to go with
mm,
right. It's gonna
yeah,
be a 6-way battle for probably 4 spots,
yes.
honestly. If
Yes.
we're really being honest.
Second last year was Utah State. I had them eighth this year.
Yeah, I think I have them. Yep, I have them eighth.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like dislike them. They're just
Yeah, I
better
don't.
teams.
I
I think
feel
they
like
lack like a
again,
number one guy.
yep, I said the same thing. I think Javante Jackson is going to be that guy, but
Javon
like he's
Jackson. Yeah,
not
he can really shoot.
amazing. But he is someone I think that's underlooked as far as wasn't he
Hmm.
D2, right?
Yeah.
He was very good. I've heard like I have
Yes.
players who follow me that
He's good. He can really like he can really
right.
shoot 3 pointers off
I
the
had a player
dribble.
Noah Tomasin played AAU with him and he told me how
Yeah.
good he was. Like
Yeah, he's
um
good.
he's gonna definitely be that number one guy. But then outside of that, like him and Darius Brown are actually be a pretty good backcourt. Um,
Yeah.
but then I'd say for the front court, I'm a bit more suspicious. Agboon Polo
I
is a
mean, you
good
just hope he's
defender.
like good again. Like he has the potential to be good. He just was not good at all. Like, he was terrible last year,
Yeah,
with all due respect.
he
But he
was
can
not
be good.
good.
Like he has a potential to be good.
And he will at least defend, even when he's not playing well on offense. So they're gonna need him to be decent.
I
And
kind of
then
like
yeah,
Great Osobor.
oh yeah, Sobor is solid, yeah, for sure. Now look at their other depth here.
I don't think Ian Martinez is going to get a waiver, but I do
He's
like
not.
him.
That's why I didn't have them high.
There's no way he gets a waiver, but he's good.
Um,
He's when he plays, he's like
Obviously,
super athletic.
yeah, he's gonna be good in 2 years. When he plays. Yeah, if Ian Martinez is healthy, I'd probably have them over Wyoming.
I
But
could see that.
yeah, I don't know. It would definitely be a conversation at least.
Yeah, Nigel
Um,
Burris had a decent freshman
yeah, no,
season.
Burris is solid. I like Burris. He's
Had a
from
decent
Idaho,
freshman
right?
class.
And
Yeah,
obviously Aduje. Aduje is
yeah,
gonna have to. Him and Javon Jackson are gonna be their leading scorers for sure. So they're
yes.
gonna
Which I'm
have to
not sure. I
do.
love that.
Yeah. I think they can kind of. I think Aduje can surprise a lot of people. He's
Yeah,
very solid.
he was decent, but
Yeah, especially being a good guard on Coastal is not easy to do with like, guys like they ruined Jamaro Brown, Antonio Day. And Josh
yeah,
Aduje was the best out of any of those guys actually, which is impressive
yeah,
to think about. And Aduje gives you something defensively, so that's also good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Falsev is decent. I forget where he's from. I swear it's a familiar name. Mason Falsev,
Yeah.
redshirt
Uh,
freshman. I don't. Maybe he's not good. There's another Falsev I'm thinking of.
I don't know. I don't even have him in my depth charts.
Yeah, he's probably.
Might be like the
Yeah,
14th
just
one.
depth wise, I worry. I don't see this team having much depth at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance they have depth if like Jackson Grant is serviceable, like Isaac
Yeah,
Johnson serviceable. The freshmen are good. Because I don't like hate this freshman class. I think there's some potential here, but
yeah, sure, sure,
I don't know. It's gonna be a down year compared to last year. But Danny
for sure.
Sprinkle is a fantastic coach. Utah State is gonna be back.
Yeah,
I mean,
they didn't completely explode from last year.
oh, they
Yeah.
don't have any players back.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're not going to be like last
But
place,
yeah, they
like
still
people think.
rebounded well.
Right. They rebuilt nicely.
Yeah, but number one last year, San Diego State. I have them second. I think they're the safest bet to be first, if that makes sense. Like they're not going to be worse than second, and I think New
No, they're
Mexico
not going to
could
be
be
worse in
worse.
second. Although I will say this, like maybe on paper, I think UNLV might have a better roster than them.
Mm, I don't know.
It's close. Like
It's close, but there's also a big coaching
exactly, yeah.
gap
Okay.
there.
That's true. Kruger's just not what we've expected coaching wise. Like if UNLV was under a better coach, I might even have them higher. But yeah, no, San Diego State's a lock to be two, a
Definitely
lock
the
to be
safest
top
bet to win a
two
conference.
for sure.
But I
Um,
just like New Mexico just has that top end potential, which San Diego State doesn't really have. But San Diego State's still going to be great. Like, and they're going to be really solid. There's no chance they're going to be bad. It's
right.
Dodgers are too good. Their backcourt's really solid. Like Tremel Butler, Dixon Waters, like Parrish and LaD. Like, it just kind of needs somebody to step up. I mean, their defense is still going to be amazing. I think LaD is going to step up a lot. Like,
Yeah, he's very active on the glass. He's very physical as well. Jay Powell's going to be again.
Yeah.
He's
Is he
going to
gonna
be
get a
great.
waiver? I heard that like he might not be able to play this year.
That's
I don't know. I don't
interesting.
know if he's graduated though. Like I think I heard that he might not get one.
If he doesn't get one, that kind of hurts him a little bit. I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
it's if he graduated or not, because if he didn't graduate, he's not gonna get one. If he did graduate, he
Oh
might have an
yes,
issue.
he had to do his summer classes or whatever.
I don't know. I
Okay.
think I just heard that like he might not have graduated. I don't
Yeah.
know. I might just be making stuff up, but I
At
feel
least
like
San Diego
yeah.
State has a lot of depth at the four. It's just I think Jay Powell is some of the best of that depth that they have. They have
Yeah.
Elijah Saunders as well. They have
I'm pretty confident that Dutcher will make some of these guys off the bench like
for
decent
sure.
players, like Elijah Saunders. Maybe you get something out of like DeMarshe Johnson, some backup big minutes.
Mhm.
Like Miles Bird probably can step up into like that backup like wing.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely look at their two freshmen, BJ Davis and Bird, are definitely in for big years.
Bird's a
Um,
sophomore, but yeah,
yeah,
he
that's
didn't really
right.
play that much last year.
Right, exactly. He didn't really
He
have a
only
huge
played a
role
few
last
games.
year.
What about Magoon Guath? That's a fun name.
Hey, if Jay Powell doesn't get a waiver, it's Magoon Guath season.
I don't know if that's a good thing. And he's like super raw from what I've been hearing.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, you
which
just
is
look
like
at him. He's 7 foot 190.
yeah, like he's supposed to like really skilled, but like
Skinny
there's no way
probably,
he's good this year, but like he's gonna be good in his career.
but of course he's a
Like
project
in a few
big.
years, he might be like he will either be like very like he'll either be like one of the best players in the conference or like at some like random low major.
Once
I don't
he
think
once he meets the San Diego, so yeah, no, there's it's just again Lamont's like you're gonna say, it's not that I like him either. It's, yeah, but find a way and on like 10 points per game. He's probably the best perimeter defender in the conference. So there's that too. And I think he's maybe just gonna do enough to, be the star guy, even if it's not like an every game thing. Like being an every game closer, if you haven't done it, is a huge jump no matter what. Like I know he hit the game winning shot in the Final Four game. I get all that, but was he
yeah,
doing it every night? No. That was Matt Bradley. Matt Bradley was insane down the stretch. In the
yeah,
last like 5 to 6 games, he really started to show up. Yes,
yeah,
Alabama, he was terrific. He was really good down the stretch, and he was their closer, even when he wasn't having good games, and he didn't even have his best season last year. He was still closing games. He was
yes,
closing every game, except for obviously that one game. But no, he had a great year closing wise, and to be a number one option is like if you haven't done it before, it's gonna be a jump no matter what. Like
yeah,
to be at the top of a team types of defensive coverages that you don't see as a number two or three option, and things like that. So, I think it is going to be a jump for him, but I think Lamont could do a solid enough job to, get them to be a second place team. And you obviously have Trammell, who has great shot creating ability, and he can step up as well. So,
yes. So that is our Mountain West preview. Any other notes before we hop off
yeah,
the Zoom
they're
call?
a top six conference this year, but I think they're probably like top eight. Like
Definitely top seven. Like I don't see how they're worse than
yeah, true.
seven.
Yeah, they're probably not because then again, a lot of the conferences this year are pretty weak too. So even though the Mountain West got a little bit worse at the bottom, the top six is
Didn't it
still really
really? It didn't
good.
really get worse at the bottom though.
Um,
Like I mean,
yeah, I guess. All right. When you start to talk about 8 through 11, it's pretty, you
it's like
know.
the same as it was though.
Yeah, well, what was the bottom line? Yeah, I guess Wyoming last year
I
being
mean, they
banged
were they
up.
were the worst team. They had all injuries. Like they were not really that
Yeah,
bad.
and then no, I feel like last year the bottom was good. Like Fresno was
Yeah, like
pesky.
Fresno was. Yeah, they were competitive.
And
I
I
mean,
think they're
they.
going to be much worse this year, personally.
Yeah.
Probably Air Force is a lot worse than last year.
Yeah.
San Jose State's a lot worse than last year. Um, and then at 8, yeah, Utah State is still quite a bit worse than last year. But then Wyoming's better. So,
Yeah.
you know, once you leave the 8 through 11 is when the conference gets pretty good. So,
Yes. Well, we will be back in a few days with the WAC preview. Um, yeah, the WAC's not going to be as good this year as it was
yeah,
last
it's
year.
sad because the WAC
But
was like the Mountain West. They had those late games that were awesome. Um, Southern Utah and the Utah Valley
yeah, that
game,
was that was a game.
unbelievable. And then Grand Canyon, all that. They've had some fun games.
Yes.
I remember it's 2 years ago, so when the WAC was elite when they fired all. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, that was an
those were
elite
some good
year for the
games.
WAC. Savion Flag, oh man.
He was good.
Now those were really fun years. So it's a shame the conference is kind of not the same anymore, and teams have been leaving.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a thing too. But
Yeah.
there's still a couple good teams.
For sure. But we will be back to talk about that shortly. And
Mhm.
yeah, give us a follow on our social medias. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you should consider that. You can see us in
I'm posting a lot of
see our
Mountain West
faces.
clips because a lot of my followers love the Mountain West. So
Yeah, it's great. Everyone loves the Mountain West. It's
love
best
or hate
conference there is.
relationship. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, well, we will be back shortly to talk about the WAC.